Israel has started pumping sea waters into the tunnels in Gaza. I think this story has been out there for a while now. Like the whole idea has been out there for a while because there were images showing Israel's defense forces installing pumps in Gaza, and those pumps were to be used to pump in sea water into the tunnels in Gaza. And according to Israel's own motive for doing that, they believe that it will flush out Hamas fighters, or if not, it will just drown them in there. But before we even get to this article, and because a lot of people have shared concern about this approach, let me just ask this one simple question: isn't Hamas still holding about 130 hostages? Aren't these people worthy of rescuing? And if Israel's intention right now is just to pump seawater into those tunnels, how is Israel sure that they won't kill those hostages in the tunnels? Like, where in those tunnels are the hostages being held? Is Israel sure about that? And also, isn't Israel's first priority to rescue these hostages? Because, believe it or not, when they pump seawater into those tunnels, they are also sentencing those hostages to death. I believe we are all clear about that. So let's continue with this article to really understand what it says. The headline reads: Israel military begins pumping seawater into Hamas tunnels, report says. Environmental experts caution pumping seawater into underground tunnels could result in long-lasting consequences for groundwater in Gaza Strip, which is a very legitimate worry or concern. If you pump seawater into those tunnels, the seawater might infect groundwater. And when that happens, how will the people in Gaza survive? Are you going to keep on giving them water for like ever? How can you think of pumping seawater into tunnels without even thinking how much destruction that approach might have? Not just for the Hamas operatives that you are trying to kill or flush out, or the hostages whom you have indirectly sentenced to death, but also for the Palestinians who will be living on that piece of land when all this is over. How do you expect them to survive? So are you going to give them water forever? And if they did something wrong, you just cut it all over again? Let's continue. Israel has begun pumping seawater into subterranean Hamas tunnels in a bid to flush out the militants, according to a report. The Wall Street Journal, citing U.S. officials briefed on the Israeli military's operations, reported that the move is to flood the tunnels with water from the Mediterranean Sea has already begun. Earlier, it was reported that this move by the Israeli military was under consideration. Israel Defense Forces has reportedly set up 5 large water pumps near the Shati refugee camp in northern Gaza. Those pumps have the capacity to inundate the tunnels in a matter of weeks, as they can pump thousands of cubic meters of water per hour into the passages. Last week, IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Hazak Halevi said Flooding the tunnels was a good idea, but I won't comment on its specifics. He said, "We are seeing a lot of underground infrastructure in Gaza. We knew there would be a lot. Part of the goal is to destroy this infrastructure. We have various ways to deal with the tunnels. I won't talk about specifics, but they include explosives to destroy and other means to prevent Hamas operatives from using the tunnels to harm our soldiers. Therefore, any means which give us an advantage over the enemy that uses the tunnels deprives it from its asset is a means that we are evaluating using." Reuters report that Israel's military were looking into the report. An Israeli defense minister spokesperson declined for comment. Israel has pledged to dismantle Hamas following the deadly 7 October attacks, during which the Palestinians milita- the Palestinian militants breached the border from Gaza and entered the southern part of the country and killed 1,200 people. Hundreds of hostages were taken. In response, Israel launched massive airstrikes and ground assaults in Gaza, which have so far killed more than 18,000 Palestinians. So you can see that this whole thing is not going to end anytime soon. Israel is now flooding Gaza with seawater, and we can only but hope that things do not get from bad to worse. Because my only worry is that after they must have done that, after they must have maybe eradicate Hamas, as that has been their main objective, the Palestinians might have to live with the fact that their groundwater is poisoned and can't be used. And after all this end, Israel would move their soldiers back to Israeli territory, right? And what will the Palestinians do? I hope Israel is thinking approach very seriously. And I hope that the international community is seeing this and then telling them not to go ahead with it. Because it would be a shame that in a couple of years from now, when all is said and done, the Palestinians do not have water to use. But you guys out there, what do you think about this approach by Israel to flood the tunnels with seawater? Do you think it's something that will work? And secondly, what if, like most environmentalists have said, Gaza groundwater is being poisoned? Then what next? Let us know in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. So thank you for watching this video, and like always, see you in the next one.